Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. Today we're going on a self-improvement journey. Mairead Ashcroft is going to share her story with us, and I just want to give you a quick heads up before we get started. It does touch on some delicate material, but her ability to share her experience openly and honestly with us is one of the things that I think you're really going to love about her. Now, if you've tuned into Newsgram in the past, then you know this program at its core is all about finding and showcasing interesting people living their lives in unique and interesting ways, and then, of course, writing a book about it. Today's book is one that breaches many different modalities, and you're going to figure that out as soon as you hear the title. Art of Life and Curiosity, Creative Mental Health, Wellbeing, and Life Balance Exploration by Mairead Ashcroft.
I'm an art therapist and mental health counsellor, and I do the work because I have my own lived experience with trauma. So I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and it happened to be with a member of the Catholic Church, and it took me 17 years to put this man in prison. And during that time, I used my own mental health techniques to keep myself sane, really. So everywhere I went, I brought pens, paper, some pencils, and I would draw my feelings everywhere I went. So that would be in courtrooms, police stations, going to see my own counsellors, catching the train home from these appointments.
Did you catch that? She was journaling for 17 years about justice and all the feelings related to her situation. Now, if it were me, it would probably lead down a very dark spiral, but that was not her experience.
It was quite harrowing. It took, like I said, 17 years. But while I was doing that, I noticed that I was drawing a lot of circles. So I started to investigate circles and the importance of circles in mental health, the importance of circles in humanity, and the importance of circles in our history and in cultures from all around the world. And I found that the healing circle was just prolific in cultures all around the globe, right back to caveman times. So I looked at the similarities between those historical and modern similarities, and put together this book in a way for people to explore what does a circle mean for them and where do they see these healing circles in their everyday life without even realizing. So it's about becoming curious about how the circle and how ancient mythology, the cultures around them, that, you know, we live in a multicultural world, how this multicultural world helps them now in their own lives.
Pretty interesting, right? Let me take a minute to explain the healing power of circles, because I didn't immediately get that, but when you take a minute to think about it, it makes a lot more sense. So in one of my college writing classes, the teacher was obsessed with our chairs being positioned in a perfect circle. And if you've ever undergone group therapy, then you know about healing circles, where everybody sits in a circle to share their experiences. It fosters connection. It promotes mutual support. And I'm sure you can think of examples in your life where circles have played a role, or even how art might help you process what words cannot.
We're talking about creative arts therapy, so that could be movement, music. Think of any of the arts. They express our emotions. It expresses our deepest, sometimes hidden feelings. When you listen to lyrics of songs, even not just the lyrics, some of the tonality of music, some of the tonality of colors, some of the mood of dance, without saying any words, will express to you a whole story. Art therapy is a way of expressing your story when words are just not enough. So, for example, people who have experienced childhood trauma may not have developed the intellectual ability to express what's going on for them because their brains aren't developed enough to say what's going on. And this stuff gets trapped inside your body, but the emotion is there. And through creative arts processing, we can express that. And for me, it's not music or movement, but it is the actual putting of image on paper that works for me.
Because not everyone has the capacity to articulate their experiences with words. Sometimes you have to draw a picture.
And for me, it's not music or movement, but it is the actual putting of image on paper that works for me. And so much so that when I was in court, in my victim's impact statement, I actually put a piece of art in my victim's impact statement that was put up on the screen. And in the courtroom, the whole courtroom had an in-breath, like everybody felt. The words weren't doing it, but the impact was wow.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words.
But anyway, the book's not about that. The book's about the healing.
Right. Let's keep things in perspective and keep the podcast moving. The book is all about healing, and it stands out because it combines creativity, personal storytelling, cultural depth, and practical guidance in a way that I think you'll find refreshing. It's not just a guide. It's a resource that invites readers to explore themselves in imaginative and meaningful ways. And it's also for
people who are stuck in a rut, people who are just beginning to explore their authentic selves, people who need a little guidance to take small steps. This isn't a big step book. This is a little step book. And I think that sometimes taking too big a step can be overwhelming, particularly in trauma.
Trauma is a great example, and since there are many different types of healing, let's begin there. She says, when it comes to personal trauma, the first thing you need to do is to be honest with yourself.
It's about putting into place, okay, what am I responsible for? I'm not responsible for my own trauma here, but I am responsible for how I get through this trauma. And what I found worked for me was to be curious. So when I would have a feeling come up, rather than beat myself up with that feeling or about that feeling, I would say, what was that? Where did that feeling come from? Does that feeling belong to me? Was that feeling something that has been conditioned onto me by somebody else, possibly society, possibly my upbringing, possibly the perpetrator? Where has that come from? And does it work for me? Is it serving a positive purpose in my life? If it's not serving a positive purpose in my life, then I don't need it. What am I going to do to replace that? So it's about being curious and finding a way of doing something positive with that feeling.
There are all kinds of situations where you just need to take a minute and think about how you're feeling. Being human, you can't help but have feelings, but you can control what you do with them. Taking the stage is going to give you butterflies. Public speaking makes me physically nauseous, but that energy can be transferred.
We've all been probably, adults been for a job interview, and we feel nervous about going for that job interview. So we can think, am I good enough for this job interview? What are they going to think about me? Are they going to judge me? These are all the self-talk things that we tend to do for ourselves. That's just what we do. If we put that in curiosity terms, and change the narrative. We might say something like, I wonder what the building will be like, and I wonder what the people will be like. I wonder what it was like for them, those who are interviewing me, when they first went for a job there, because they had their first interview there as well. You're going for a job, you're going in there to fill a need. So it's like, how am I going to fill this need? So that comes about with research into the company, research into the job role. If you've got an interview, you're already, you've already got your foot in the door, so you're doing okay. So it's about, okay, what are all the great attributes that I have that I can bring into this interview? If they don't choose me, it's not a personal affront to my individuality. It's just that I don't fit a certain criteria that they're looking for, because they're just ticking boxes.
They're just a bunch of box tickers. Maybe you'll get hired, maybe you won't, but it's nothing personal. It is excruciating, but those feelings don't last, and this is just a small example of the kind of wisdom available in her book, Art of Life and Curiosity. I'm not really even doing it a service by calling it a book. It's a personal guide to helping you see life from a fresh perspective. A tool to help you break free of some of those old habits, the ones that are holding you back. You can open it up to any page and probably find something meaningful to reflect on, which is pretty handy when you need a little inspiration or you need some clarity. Here's an example.
I'll just grab my book here. So I'll open the page. What have I got here? All right, I've got noon. I've just opened the book and it's opened up at noon. And at the end of noon, it says, what feelings presented themselves today about noon? If life goals were placed on a clock face, where would they be sitting? So in that question, you would say, all right, your life goals, if they were placed on a clock face, are you at the end of that life goal, or are you just beginning that life goal? It's a way of actually thinking about life. Asking questions that you may not normally contemplate. If your goals are not going according to your wishes, what needs to change? Are you taking time to fit rest and mindful meditation into your daily practice? So, you would read the chapter and then you would ask yourself these questions. So it's just a way of every day having some daily practice.
Her book blends together ancient wisdom like the Native American medicine wheel, mindfulness practices, and other tools for self-discovery.
What I've done is I have broken down a few ancient circles that are important to me. One is the Celtic cross, because I was born in Ireland. Two is the Native American medicine wheel. My kids play lacrosse, brought up with the ancient teachings of lacrosse, which is the elders are playing in the sky while the humans are playing on the land. So, you've got to play a fair game because the elders are watching. And then there's also the Aboriginal medicine wheel. And then there's the mandala. So I take the teachings from the four of those medicine wheels, really, and I break them down, and they end up with 58 subjects that are very similar. And in those, I look at sort of the yin and yang, the dark and light sides to life.
Can you see all the blending here? Ancient wisdom applied in a practical way and then laid out very creatively. She also offers gentle encouragement to explore big life topics in a small way. Make sure you're taking good care of yourself and finding that balance in all areas of life, body, mind, and spirit, while at the same time trying not to take yourself too seriously.
As I say in the book, I am an expert in nothing except being me, and I get that wrong all the time. So I actually say that in the book. And I have a bit of a laugh at myself and say, yep, stop taking yourself so seriously and you'll be okay. But as I always say in my chapters as well, when things do become overwhelming, get help.
While this book is a nice resource, if you're in the need of counseling, talk to a friend or do your best to seek counseling and find the help that you need before things get out of hand. Or maybe even do both. Combine some of her personal tools, the ones that you're going to find in this book, with the professional support you need. There are a lot of great organizations out there like Lifeline or SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Mairead Ashcroft is an inspiration. She has overcome incredible challenges, including childhood trauma. Her journey inspired her to become a counselor, an art therapist, and a wellness coach, and she shares all that wisdom in her new book, Art of Life and Curiosity, Creative Mental Health, Wellbeing, and Life Balance Exploration. Grab a copy right now if you like on Amazon.com and learn how to create your own wellness wheel, a simple and powerful tool to map out your well-being. Then, let's see where your journey takes you. This book is a toolkit for healing and self-discovery. Whether you're searching for clarity, balance, or a way to express what's hard to say, Mairead's wisdom is here to guide you. And that will do it for this edition of Newsgram from webtalkradio.com.